Nithyananda, it's Nana here, Chitambarananda, a smiling sannyasi from Melbourne, Australia, making another video for you from Bengaluru Adinam, the home place of my amazing guru, the avatar, His Holiness Paramahamsa Nithyananda. So I wanted to make a video today on a topic that might help someone out there if they happen to stumble across this video, about learning to love yourself. So I know it sounds a bit corny, cheesy, many people have said many things about this, but I just wanted to express or verbalize an experience that I had recently when I went back to Australia. So I had to go back to Australia for my visa, and being away from this environment where we have a lot of like-minded people, and it's not that I went into an environment that wasn't exactly like that, it's just that it's a high intensity here, living here, and being with people that have taken the same vows as I have, of sanya, so living the life of a Hindu monk. We're kind of on a certain wavelength, or we're traveling in a similar direction into achieving something, or rather than achieving something, kind of understanding what we really are and being that, imbibing that, and expressing that. So I went back to Australia anyhow, and some past pain pattern was triggered inside of me where I wasn't able to quite see it for what it was, and before I knew it, the painful emotion and that whole thought current kind of took me over, and I was in this kind of a slump for a few days, I can say. So it brought out inside of me this tantrum throwing child where I felt like I'm not loved, I'm not getting what I want, I'm not getting what I need. My comparison pattern got triggered, and I started seeing, oh look, my life is so rummy compared to other people's, and just this whole drama, psychological drama, which I used to go through in my life very unconsciously, very deeply, and was kind of there all the time. It was just like this idea, this belief, I can say, I carried about myself, is that I'm deeply unloved by anyone, and I will never get what I want, and especially compared to other people, life will always be difficult for me, and in every way, like myself, my being, my personality, my looks, my everything, this deep self-hatred kind of came out in me. And what was alarming this time was that even though I fell into this kind of a pain pattern, I wasn't able to, I don't know, be ferocious with it and step away from it. So oftentimes now what's happened, doing a lot of introspective work and seeing, all right, why do I think the way I think, and how have I created certain beliefs about myself and life based on past incidents. So I've gone through things which have made me believe or perceive that I'm not loved by life, which is in fact not true. I understand that this is not the truth, it is not reality, but based on what I've gone through in my life, it has impacted me so heavily, it's left such a strong impression on me that it's very difficult to draw back from this same association time and again and move into the direction of awareness or being more conscious about what's actually happening. What am I thinking, which is triggering this feeling? So anyway, I fell into this kind of a old pain pattern, and there was it wasn't purely unconscious in the sense that I could kind of observe the thoughts that were coming up and witness them. Even though they were still hurting me, I could perceive and see that they weren't in fact true, but it was such a heaviness, like I could actually see this this voice for what it was, you can say. So I used to torture myself a lot, especially as a teenager when I was from the age of, let's say, 14 to 16, that 2-year period especially, I ended up developing an eating disorder as a result of just the kind of rubbish that I was telling myself in my mind. And it was so funny, but I actually witnessed that same inner violence, that same self-hatred in a very distinctive way. So I was basically lying in bed ready to go to sleep, and this voice was just raging and raging and raging and throwing a tantrum. And as I was watching it, I understood the magnitude of it. Like, this is the voice, this is the self-hatred that was pulling me to end my life. And I mean, I was actually contemplating it. It carried so much vengeance and rage and hate, and it was so self-destructive. It really shocked me because, I mean, I haven't really, it's been a while since I've faced this demon, you can say. And so having it there in my face all of a sudden, it was quite alarming. And I also understood on a greater level how all of humanity, it's just, okay, so it's present in me, which means it's also present in others. How much we actually suffer because of this voice in our head. How much we suffer because our minds believe something that isn't really true. And after just watching it and trying to be as conscious as I could and letting it do whatever it had to do, so there was, I don't want to say I was powerless against it, but the rather than fighting it, which wasn't working, I decided to just kind of sit back and allow whatever was there inside my mind to kind of like express itself and exhaust itself, really, so then I can just kind of carry on. So this happened, and the next day when I kind of was contemplating back on what that was, it really made me appreciate finding Swamiji, and it really made me appreciate how far I've actually come away from identifying myself with that voice. So many years back, that voice used to consume me. I believed it so much. Like I said, I got kind of sick from it. You know, I hated my body. I hated everything about me. I could just say the worst things about me. And I'm understanding more and more now that I really have to stop being so harsh with myself, right? For I don't know how else to express it, but stop being so critical and stop being so harsh, and that same care and love that I can show towards others, extending that to myself sometimes. And for those that suffer from self-hatred or struggle with this same kind of an inner violence, I do highly recommend. I went and saw psychologists. I was medicated and nothing really helped me. The one thing that gave me a breakthrough, and it also gave my mum a breakthrough also, was Inner Awakening. So it's the perfect platform for you to get into like the nitty-gritties of why you think a certain way and allow for that healing to happen. It gives you a platform to release this like vengeance and violence and at least start the healing. And it's a tool which you have, this learning, this understanding, whatever it is that you gain from Inner Awakening, you carry it with you for the rest of your life. These teachings you start imbibing, and like I said, if it's a very heavy pain, it can take some time for it to heal, and it might kind of come back and hit you in the face again, but it won't take you over the way that it used to. And it's something that we should all be helping one another with. And I call you for Inner Awakening. I call you to come here and experience it yourself, and I can help you in any way that I can, with any of the things that I've learned so far, and I know Swamiji, well, he doesn't watch these things, but I just can't thank him enough for, saving my life and allowing me to start loving myself as hard as it is. And I didn't think it would be difficult to love me. Like, I'm in this body, I'm functioning in this system 24/7, but yeah, it's a process, it's a journey. So, alright, let me just leave it at that, and I would love to hear from you and obviously meet you here and see you here and know about your journey and help you in any way that I can. Thank you, Nithyananda.